right, time for some carousel action. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Like a record, baby. So we got ourselves this big old ID sign. You can see it's pretty big. It's 6 feet, 71 inches. So it's a big boy or big girl. It's a big they. But it's not too crazy. Just a lot of stuff going on. And just want to point out a few things to make sure you do it in proper order, so you're not caught out. That usual stuff. And maybe a couple other things. But other than that, let's get after it. So lay of the land. In our war on weight, this is the only 09, the face, because we got the bulb supports and all that. We'll go over that in a second. And then the ring, the actual jig, just wanted to keep that because you'll be welding that, whatever. So here we go, 063. So pretty much the back football, I'm calling it. That's the back frame, electrical, and the main components. That's all 063. And with the new system, we're going 1/8. So there's your support bar. We do have 1/2 inch, mostly decorative. There's your Elder Scrolls. And then we have our white 063. We've got 1/2 inch acrylic, but it's being taken down to 3/8, and it's going to be nubbins on the back, similar to like a Cabazon blade sign letters. We'll go over that. And then we have our pushies, 1/2 inch, and then we also have the beauty rings that go on the face. Those get 1024 brassies. And we have our usual clear tough axe. So get that to first shop. So the main construction is similar to like we do with the boxes that will have the removable back, but the returns go long. So think like the Indio boxes you just did. You're going to do sort of a front ring that leaves the back open, and then you're going to bring in a smaller chunk to bring in and then fuse it all together. That way it has a full removable back system. So the back frame, though, is actually basically like almost a 1 inch deep blade sign that you're going to make that will then tuck into the front frame, back, open back kind of system. So what you do is probably do the front frame first, as we usually do. So just bend this up. You have your seams, the bottom here, you'll have one that bends up, so you can do like a nice fillet weld, and then up here the top side. And then that goes on to the 090 ring. And so you can go ahead and weld that together. Go ahead and tack all that, but maybe leave your seams loose. And then that way you can sort of put the football in easier, because once you get this burnt to the face ring, I think you're kind of done with welding for the most part as far as this. And I think with the 063 and sort of how everything goes together, I think it'll be just a big Lord's party from that point out. You will tack this together. So you'll have like this row here and this row here. And then you can see where I staggered the seams for this will be over here at sort of a 2 o'clock and sort of a 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock kind of thing over here. That way they're staggered from the top and bottom seams of this guy here. So you want to make sure that those are clean. So when you bring it together, I did do a 0.02 space, so that way you have a little more room for lords and whatnot and funkiness going on. But if you leave these seams open, give yourself a little bit of room to work, I think you'll be good to go. So go ahead and tack these strips onto the football frames. Face goes forward. And then go ahead and tack. You have a little bit of space here. Just slide these on over these guys, cleco them in, tack them. And then these create like a sort of boxed in structure. And then actually that box structure is what's going to hold your white for your LEDs. But that's jumping ahead. So once you get this all tacked together in sort of a football frame, and you have the ring and the returns all welded up, then go ahead and pop Lords. Test fit though, make sure I know what I'm talking about. But I went ahead and put holes that match the two end pieces, get you all lined up right there and right there. So that's a good place to start. And then I have these guys here on both sides, and then I have a couple along the sides here. So make sure that those holes, then I wasn't smoking too much crack, that those holes there will line up with the football holes here. So I got all the football holes there. Anyway, so you should be able to test fit that. If it's sexy, then go ahead and pop Lords and get that all like put together. You're good to go. Now, when you put the Lords in there and you get Lords in between, maybe go ahead and make sure, hold off and make sure it's clear right here. Yeah, I'm rhyming. So you see where this guy here, that's this 1/8" brace. So you might want to get this 1/8" brace ready first. So let's run it back, and you're going to cut list over here. So 2x2, you're going to have 2 7-inchers, and you can go ahead and cut your 3x right here, 73.5. But you're just going to go ahead and burn. I went ahead and did a 16th island fill. So you're going to bottom out these 2 boys down here, bonk, and then go ahead and give this a good burn. Pow and pow on the backside, if you want to call it the backside. Then once you have this, you know what? Yeah, no, I think we're good. I think you want to go ahead and get the returns and then get the football. Go ahead and do that. Get that situated. Get that Lord's in. Then go ahead and make sure that there isn't any Lords built up right here and make sure this is clear. Then you're going to take this structure once you have it welded, and you're going to come in from the face and you're going to slide it up through. And then you're basically going to bonk it up against the return, and it is going to strategically bonk against this football frame up top. So you can see where you have the ability to Lords this strip along here where it touches the football. And then once you have that Lords in there, then go ahead, and while you have a Lords popped, then go ahead and fillet weld Lords, just splooge a bunch all along in there, and then maybe continue around. Once you come off of the 1/8", you can continue around the football all the way around the bottom there. That's what I'm saying, is this might be a Lord's party where instead of tacking together the 063, you can maybe just go ahead and inject Lords and close up, because you can see where that football will land right about there on the bottom. That's the football. So you can maybe just Lords together the seam, just blob it all up, and you can just work your way around and just do a nice fillet weld down, just blob the football, because you'll have already Lords the football into the return. That's what you're going to do, is, get that football good to go, put Lords all the way around the on the side of it, and then squish it in there and Cleco it together. But then you can come through with the support piece and then just do one big Lords party all the way around the face, through the face, and then take care of that. And then maybe inject Lords from the outside and scrape it, so that way this is all nice and cleaned up, and then the seams are all sexy. So you should have then the skeleton of this all ready to go, no face yet, with these 2 pogos sticking out. We're good to go. So at that point, you can maybe get the stick ready here. You might want to do this first. That way it's easier to work with. That would be the flagpole thing that I dropped off, the flagpole sitta. So since we're going our war on weight, Operation Supermodel, that's what I've dubbed it now. So this is going to be 1/8" instead of quarter or whatever. So you're going to have a 16th step. And the dog bones now are going to be for 1/8 instead of quarter. So this will be a piece of 1/8. You bend it up, and then while you have access, you just tack in the 1/2 by 13 aluminum nut. And then that way you'll have a blind nut ready to receive that. And then this guy will go into the dog bones, tack that up really good, make sure it's nice and strong, because you're not going to have access. So make sure that it's a 0 fail. And then you're just going to take that assembly and Lords it really good, like we do post cap, just Lords it really good in there, squish it on, and then let it sit, and we're good to go. Jim did say that even though this is cool gold anodized, this does need to get painted. So make sure that gets out to paint. And then it'll be as simple as just, screwing this on once full assembly happens, and you'll be able to catch. And then that nut should be right in the middle of the supplied threads. So there shouldn't be any issue there. So that's how that's going to work. So maybe get this ready, get that Lords on. Then you're ready to take this assembly and burn it to the stick. And your measurements are there. So on the pull side, you've got 15.5 smooth from this stick to the end. And you should be clocking 14 and 16 with the cap there to make sure we're right, plus or minus. So then you can burn this to that, make sure it's nice and sexy. I did forget, while we're doing this, you do want to tack. Obviously, mixing Lords with welding is bad, but this will be the power supply tray. Let's back up. We'll go over this. So bend. You'll have this guy, and then this just sits into the bottom there. Just level it up, and make sure it's sexy. Make sure the tray faces back so that way you have access to the keystone from the back side. Make sure it faces the football and just tack it in. Tack it up against the face. Should be good to go. I went ahead and notched it here for whatever wires will be coming your way for this non-existent harness. This is a picture they sent, so we'll be going over that here in a second. But once we get that harness, so just so these wires will clear, I'm not sure if you're wiring this or if we have to, or if it comes wired like this. I don't know. I think it's just sockets, and I think you're going to be running black and white throughout. But anyway, so I went ahead and notched those legs just to make sure you have clearance for wire. But all of this is set up. The whole idea is this is set up to where you have free and clear, 100% clear access, except for right here and here, to these sockets. That's why I kind of built it this way. Anyway, so maybe before, so you want to put this, tack that in first, get these in there. Then you go ahead and burn these to this stick. Go ahead and lords that in first. And then it's these guys. That's it. So you'll have a piece of 1/2 inch. You're going to want to make sure that these holes are all the way through. If they don't go all the way through, or they're clean on both sides, maybe even open them up a little bit, because you're going to want to be able to do the nubbins thing like we do for the letters for like Cabazon blade signs. So if they're sort of closed on the one side because the bit didn't go all the way through, that's going to not work for you. So make sure that on both sides, maybe even hit them with just the slightest bit of a countersink or something, just to make sure that all those holes are open. Go ahead and burn this to the top stick after all this is set up. And I got a little bit of flat spot for you there. And then you're just looking for basically 1 3/8 inches from the steel or from the metal to the end here, plus or minus. And that should make it stick over just a little bit, right? Over the side there. And that's how you'll know that's good. Go ahead and burn that up, and then you should be good to go. Now, as far as the rings, like I said, just go ahead and brassy those up, and then those go right out to paint, and you'll be assembling that after. So speaking of the face and the emails we've had back and forth, this is what they sent. This is the information. JR kind of laid it out based on that, but now we're sort of like waiting for this. This is supposed to be sent to us. So what I would do is, of course, time is of the essence, but I think you'll be able to get all of this handled except the face. Shoot your studs, but maybe just leave the 09 off for as long as you dare. Because what is it? 10 minutes, you pop a Lords, put a face on, and then you can send this to paint. So maybe just wait as long as possible, as long as you dare, get it all built. You can get the polymerics, get the plastics out to paint. They can kind of start working on that. But maybe just wait as long as you can to see if we receive anything to make sure things fit. Because if we have to, if the spacing's wrong or whatever, we could theoretically route this again if we have to. But it would suck if we have to route it and cut it off and it's already attached. So maybe just, like I say, as long as you dare, leave the face off until last minute, and then Lords it on, seal it up, send it to paint, good to go. A few notes on the backer and the white. So the white is reverse bend. So you will have the bend scribes, but run it into the break backwards. So you're not going to see the bend scribe, but go ahead and use the corner and the edge as your guide, and then use the force Luke and then bend it backwards. And then that will allow it to shove the LEDs forward, but it will sit like a little tray, and you'll be able to frap it onto the verticals there like that. You'll have access to those screws, and it'll just kind of flashlight towards the letters there. So a little bit weird there, reverse bend on that. And then on the backer, I went ahead and, because Operation Supermodel, keeping things skinny, this is going to be 063. Plus, we have a super sus way that the power is getting in. So it's a little bit of magical thinking, I guess, whatever. But on the back side, it's supposed to run up the pole, run over, run down a leg, but I think it's external. And then we're going to have like a J box possibly on the back. So for that contingency, I went ahead and made the one corner, because you can see how that works, where like closer to the pole here, that might be where this J box will want to be semi-permanent. So instead of having to take the back off with a piece of, with that in the way, I went ahead and made it multiple pieces. And this is where maybe that J box will live. So it's not permanent. It is screwed on, but it allows it to be separate. And then in order to kind of keep it balanced and symmetrical, I went ahead and just made the other side the same. So technically that way, if you have to service it, you only need to take the back middle out instead of having like one stripe over here like, oh, what was that? Anyway, plus this thing is, put your arms out. That's how wide this thing's, longer than that. So that would be a pain in the booty to take this off. So I tried to make it that way. So that's how that works. I don't think you need to drill anything. I don't know, maybe talk to install. I think install is supposed to do all this work there, but maybe they want to put a J box right there first. Maybe, we do that. I don't know. So maybe powwow with Jonathan on that, or they're going to do it there. So anyway, but I think that should do it. I think you guys kind of see what's up. And then for install, just so you know, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to go burn. They're going to burn a pole on there, a piece of steel onto their steel, and then we're just going to slide the 3x3 over that, and then install is just going to frap. I think the PDF has that. Yeah. So they're just going to burn this on there, and then we're just going to slide that on, and then frap the screws, and then like I said, somehow they're going to work power into the cabinet from the back side. So I don't think they're going to be able to work it through the leg like that. I think it's going to be an external sort of down. That's why I gave them that option for that little removable panel. So hopefully it all works out. Anyway, so I think you guys got it. You probably had it a long time ago. Just talking. Anyway, so that's it. So as usual, if you have any questions, hit me up. Check the